I am Kathy Henry, and I am a licensed clinical social worker in the Indianapolis area, and I am proud to work for Healing Hearts of Indy. Today, I would like to talk about why we respond to things the way that we do. A lot of our reactions to things as an adult comes from the things that we experienced as a child or in our young adulthood. And so in a lot of ways, we are responding to things that are happening now with an attached response that comes from something that's not happening right now. A lot of times we experienced things in our childhood that were traumatic, things like abuse or neglect, mistreatment. There are all sorts of different kinds of abuse. You'd be surprised if you look it up what you can find. But a lot of times we've experienced some trauma that is associated with abandonment or shame or neglect or abuse, and those things affected us greatly. Now, you may be surprised to find out that even though we survived those events, that they are still woven into our fabric and affect our lives every single day. And we are still responding to the things today, like I said, with an attachment of emotions and that emotional response from the similar things that happened to us when we were children. So in a lot of ways, if we don't do our emotional work on the things that happened in our past, we are sort of held hostage by our childhood. So if you are responding to things when you are accused in a defensive manner, that's one of those examples that I'm talking about. Instead of just explaining what it is that you did and why you did it, we get really defensive, as if we're having to defend our entire character instead of just what it is that we did. If you were shamed as a child, you might lie as an adult because you can't take on any more shame in addition to what you already had emerged from your childhood with. If you were abandoned as a child, you might cling or be desperately needy for love and attention from someone. Even if that person is unhealthy and not good for you, you might still cling to them because you have a desperate need for that attachment. If you were scared a lot as a child and in great fear, you're probably carrying around a lot of anxiety as an adult, and you're responding to things anxiously, over anxiously, more so than what the situation warrants as an adult. If you were neglected as a child and you didn't get some of your basic needs met, like food or clean clothes or having someone come home when they were supposed to and being alone, you might spend a lot of your time worried that you're not going to get your needs met. If you were abused as a child, you might respond to things in a reactive or a hostile way. So there are all sorts of different things that we do as adults that, like I said, come from our childhood, and we don't even know. I wrote an article recently that talked about how we respond to things in a reactive way. And in fact, I think the article was about 10 signs that you might have abandonment. And one of those is that you're reacting to things in a almost rageful way. And afterwards, you may not be able to feel or remember all of the details of what it is that you said during that rage. And you may not even know why. You didn't even see it coming. You didn't even know that this kind of a situation was going to trigger it, or you may have been just fine before something triggered it, and then bam, there you are. You've had a reactive situation, and you felt out of control and can't remember everything afterwards, and you don't even know exactly why it happened. And this is really common. It's just an example of how we are still carrying around the pain and the trauma of things that happened to us when we were young. But I want to reiterate here, if you are reacting to things in a way that feels out of control, or you can't really explain why you had such a reaction to it, I just promise you that there's something in your childhood that is causing this. It's resurfacing but presenting as something that's part of the adult situation. So if you need some help with this, our staff at Healing Hearts is well trained on how to deal with these kinds of things, and we would love to help you figure out what's going on and give you some relief. So I thank you so much for listening today. I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to talking with you again.